Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Uncensored Critic podcast. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. It means a lot to me. Thank you very, very, very much. And today, yes, we have another Prima Facie episode for you today. I'm not obsessed. I'm just a big fan, okay? Just so we're clear on that. And it gives me great pleasure to welcome the recent understudy from the very, very recent tour, which just finished just last week in Liverpool. And that, of course, is Lauren Carse. Is that right? Carse?
Yeah, Carse, yeah.
Carse, perfect. Let's take a moment to introduce Lauren and her work. So, Lauren trained at the television workshop with Ian Smith, and her credits include for film Burnout and Faith, and for stage 8 productions with the television workshop, including Dark of the Moon, Measure for Measure, He's Talking, The Priority, and The Daughter-in-Law. And for TV, Doctors for the BBC, Truckers for Company and BBC, Banana for E4, Vera for ITV, Granchester for ITV, and a little-known show you might have heard of called Coronation Street. And of course, I'm going to say this wrong, so apologies, Mrs. Sidhu investigates for Acorn TV. And of course, as I just said, she recently finished understudying a certain Jodie Comer in the Prima Facie 2026 UK tour, which came to an end just last week in Liverpool at the Playhouse. But more on that in just a moment. Laura, welcome.
Hi,
Lauren,
thank
sorry, welcome.
you. Thank you. Wow, that's such a nice intro. Thank you.
No, it's all you, mate. It's all you. So we've got plenty to get through today. But first things first. So where did it come from? The love of acting, being in this business. Where did it come from?
So it was, as you mentioned, I started at the television workshop in Nottingham,
Mhm.
which is sort of a drama group that we went to after school. It runs from, well, you can go from the age of 7 to 21. So it was just, I think they came around to our schools and asked anyone who wanted to audition. I was 11 at the time. And then from there, it's sort of like a casting pool because there was a lot of kids shows being made in Nottingham. So that's how it started. It was part of Central Studios years ago.
Mhm.
And then when I joined, it was part of ITV. But it gave us training for screen and exposure to the industry from a really young age. So yeah, just being with loads of my mates after school twice a week for about 10 years was my sort of entry point into the industry.
Brilliant. Yeah. But do you remember like some of your earliest inspirations? Was there like a theatre show or a film that you saw early on which made you go, wow, I want to be a part of that?
I mean, weirdly, I can't, there was so much that we absorbed, but it was the people in the group because we had like the alumni, the people like Vicky McClure was in our group, Jack O'Connell was in the group. It was the people that we were working with that we all sort of wanted to be as good as. And every year you had a sort of review on your year, and they would always ask you like, who did you look up to? Like who was in a play this year that you thought was amazing? So every year I was sort of inspired by the very people that I was doing plays with or in the older groups. Yeah, Samantha Morton, she was one of the first
No
actors to
way.
come out of the group. Yeah, Toby Kebbell. It was just there's so many people that had gone on to do other things, and then that you were in a group with people doing the same shows as you. So it was my peers.
Brilliant. Yeah. I mean, learning from some top quality people there as well, right?
Yeah, 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 totally.
Yeah. What was it like working with Ian Smith, the guy who ran it?
He was an amazing mentor. He taught me everything that I know. And yeah, he was a brilliant director. And when you get into the over 16s group, you're also directed by other actors that have, but like Nick Harvey was another actor that became a director himself, and he directed The Priory. So he was another inspiration from there. But yeah, there was a lot of mentors during that time, but Ian Smith was the first. He was incredible.
Brilliant. Nice. And so what would you say was the biggest difference between yourself on like the first day you started at the television workshop to the day that you left?
My God. I mean, I wore a t-shirt to the audition that said, "I'm the girl your parents warned you about." And I had nothing to back that up. I was so shy and not, I was nervous. And so I was wearing this big, bold t-shirt. And I remember Ian going, "Are you the girl? Why have they warned us about you?" And I was like, "I don't know." I was so nervous. And in fact, in one of my auditions, I got too nervous in a scene and sort of blocked. It's called blocking when you sort of end a scene. And I left and went and sat back down on my chair. And it was Vicky McClure that was running the audition. And she went and grabbed my chair and pulled me back into the center of the circle to be like, "You're not done with this scene. You're not. There's no exit point. Like there's no wall there. We're in a scene." And so from all of those auditions and getting in, and then 10 years of training, I suppose just the confidence and yeah, we had so much fun, the ability to not take it too seriously and just commit to the role and commit to any scene that you're in. Thank you,
Yeah.
Vicky.
And of
That's
course,
great.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry, but no, you got that's amazing. You got Vicky and Jack O'Connell. Of course, Jack O'Connell's done. I think I'm getting this right. He's the one who did the Amy Winehouse film
Yeah,
and
yeah,
everything.
yeah, he
Yeah.
did. Yeah,
He also did Cat on a Hot Tin Roof in the West End with
yeah.
Sienna Miller as well.
Miller, yeah.
Yeah, I
Mm,
watched that as well. That was, oof, if you love your Tennessee Williams, you love that.
mm.
I love the fact they had these huge, because the characters, of course, it's Tennessee Williams, so they're all alcoholics, and big bag of ice, and he's all these bottles of like stage whiskey and all that stuff. It just the amount of stuff he drank on stage that night. I'm thinking like before you start that show, make sure you go to the make sure
You've
you
got
go
to
to
be parched.
very, very parched. And make sure you go to the toilet. Anyway, but
Yeah, yeah,
that's all
yeah.
good. But do you remember like some of the? I think that's great. Vicky's literally you going. I think we're all guilty of this. Like when we first do our drama classes and all that kind of thing, we think, okay, we've done the scene, and you literally want to run off out from the center of the
Yeah,
room back to your seat.
yeah,
When someone goes no, and then pulls you
yeah,
back
yeah,
in, and
right.
you're like, I don't want to do it. Yes, you can.
Yeah. No way out. Yeah, it was amazing. I've just never forgotten that moment because I was like, that's the point of this, isn't it? You can't just end a scene on your terms. It's got to commit and finish the job.
Nice one, yeah. And so, what was life like when you left the television workshop? And as I mentioned just now, you done some fantastic work for TV as well. So, what was it like your first kind of few years out of the workshop?
It was wild because I think you go into the industry. We moved to London. So many of my friends moved to London.
Mm.
I remember doing a pilot with Hattrick at the time, and it felt like this was going to be the thing that made me, that was my sort of, I would just be working forevermore. And then the pilot didn't get picked up. And then you sort of go through a low moment. And then I changed agents. And so it's a real journey. And I think every actor has it where you feel like you're on track to do one thing or one thing's going to go your way. And then you're just faced with so much rejection and so much auditioning and it's tough. And I think because I'd been in a nest with all of my friends doing amazing work and seeing how many people were successful, it's a lot to sort of get your head around. And also just living in London and being 21 and
Yeah.
surviving and working every job under the sun, every promotional job you can find, trying to balance your love for it, pay for the theatre, go
Yeah.
and see all the cinema on such a low budget because you're scraping for rent of a 3-bedroom flat that you've converted the lounge into. So it was an amazing time with all of my mates. But yeah, definitely a difficult thing to step into from being in your hometown with all your mates doing it after
Yeah.
school.
Oh no, it's a huge culture shock. I think some people think they move to the big city like London, New York, or LA, or San
Mm.
Francisco, or Paris, or Madrid, or anything. But
Yeah.
London in particular, because that's the one I know more about, is like you move there and you think, oh, it's all going to be sex, drugs, rock and roll, and the jobs are just going to fly in. But then it's actually like,
Yeah, reality hits.
hmm,
Yeah.
where is everybody?
Yeah,
And
totally, totally. I think it looks like one thing, and until you've experienced it, you won't know that there's so much things that go in behind the work that has to be put in behind the scenes.
yeah, yeah. I don't know if you had this, but like, I don't know if you're talking to like, if you say you're at a party or you're at the hairdressers or something, and then someone says to you, like, okay, so what are you up to? So I've just finished drama school, or well, you said you finished the television workshop, and they go,
Mm.
okay, so how does the acting business work? And by the way, these are people who are not actors at all, they
Yeah, yeah,
go,
yeah.
and they go, so how does it work then? So do you just apply for stuff, or do you just go along to castings and they give you a job? It's like, well, if only it was that
Yeah.
simple, yeah.
Normally, I mean, funny enough, it's normally like, have you tried Coronation Street? Why don't you be in EastEnders? Why don't you do one of those
Oh
things? But
God, yeah,
the questions to be like, we're trying. We are.
yeah.
Yeah. It's that kind of.
I did like half a day's filming on EastEnders one time, and they put us in this cold room in Elstree Studios, and where there was no Wi-Fi, and I didn't bring a book or anything, so I just
Oh
sat there,
no.
just like,
Oh,
oh.
really? What were you doing on that?
I was just SA that day. I was a
Oh,
supporting
nice.
artist, so yeah, I was with an supporting artist agency at the time. I'm not with them anymore, but yeah, but hey, but I'm not writing that off at all. I think anyone who wants to get an experience of what the business is like. So if you're
Yeah.
like a teenager or early 20s, or even if you are at drama school, and do a little job where you see what life on set is all about and everything. Like, do you remember like some of your earliest experiences on set, like like Coronation Street, for example?
Yeah, well, that was not too long ago. I think it was in the last few years.
Yeah.
But that one was, um, I feel like Coronation Street and the soaps are a completely different beast. They're fast paced. They're running several episodes at the same time. They're filmed in massive studios.
Hmm.
You sort of you go in, you sign in, you go up to a dressing room. There'll be three other people in there, all in like different. Someone's in a police costume, someone's a pregnant woman, all on different episodes. And then the phone, you get changed into yours. You have a quick chat about what they're up to, and then the phone will ring, and it will go, "Can you come down to Studio 3? We're filming your scenes now." Then you go down, and it's just a machine. There's so much going on, so you've got very little time to get ready until they're filming you, and they've got so many cameras
Yeah.
on you at the same time that you don't go for take after take. So you really have to be prepared and ready to do the scene, do what you've prepared, and then it's done because they have to move on. They're really tight on time because it's a soap. They've got tight deadlines.
Yeah. And it's almost like when you see like the set for the first time and then you think, wow, this looks really different than it looks on the TV, and
Yeah,
you see
yeah,
like, oh wow, so this is what it's actually like. These sets aren't
yeah,
big and grand. Also, and you realize how much the camera does for you in
yeah.
in many ways. And you're like, oh wow. I don't know if you ever had an experience where you work with someone like, of course we'll talk about one in just a moment where you've seen on TV and then you meet them and they're just it's almost like they're so tiny, and you're just like,
No, I know.
is
That's so
that the same
true.
person?
Yeah, it's so funny you say that because I'm a tall girl. I'm 5'11" nearly,
Yeah.
and so much. I was tall quick. I was tall in like year two.
Ah,
So even when I was auditioning for things when I was in my teens, I would often be like taller than the person playing the dad or taller than the mum. And
no
I was,
way.
yeah, I just was like, why so many people in this industry are quite small. It's really weird to. I mean, not everyone, but yeah, it was something that I remember thinking like, gosh, I'm a monster. Monster.
Not at all, Lauren, not at all. But I just ask you this question actually about because you're represented by United and as well. Like, did you find your agent through the television workshop, or did that happen sort of afterwards? How did that come about?
It was I actually got a referral from my mentor at the time, and
Brilliant.
so they'd set up a meeting, and it was at the time then I was looking for a new agent, and I wasn't sure whether I wanted to continue in the business. It had been a rough few years, and the meetings that I'd had before that hadn't gone brilliantly. So when I met Charlotte, my agent, we were sort of. It was at the end of it was a real crossroads for me. That was like, well, I hope this one goes well, but I'm not
Mm.
holding on hope. And we just had an amazing meeting.
Mm.
And by the time I got home, she had called up my mentor and just said, yeah, I'd love to represent her, which was just really nice because I think
Brilliant.
you have to have a good relationship, like a friendship, and
Oh,
want the
definitely.
same things as your agent. So yeah, I was really, really lucky to meet Charlotte when I did.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, no, I've done an episode on here with someone called Claire J. Loy who talked about that as well. And she said the key element, I think, to getting your agent is that you've got to have a good relationship, just like what you said there. She said like she met her for coffee and within like 30 seconds, she was like, yeah,
That's it. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. You just know. You
yeah.
do.
Vibes don't lie, guys. They do not.
No,
Yeah,
vibes don't lie.
they do not. Anyway, so I suppose, let's jump into the main part of today, which of course is Prima Facie. And of course, at the time we record now, as I just mentioned, the tour just finished in Liverpool last week, and I was very, very lucky to be able to see it twice last week. Once on Wednesday, once on Saturday. Thank you, Jan, for the tickets. And so, yeah, how did you? Well, actually, before we get into your involvement, did you manage to see the show when it was in London, or have you seen the MT Live recording prior
Yeah, I
to
saw the
this year?
MP Live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you
Yeah.
think?
I thought it was incredible. It moved me back then. And so yeah, to be a part of it this time round was I just felt so privileged.
Yeah, I mean, did it ever cross your mind that when you were watching it in the cinema at that time that you were going to be the understudy to that same person, and just a couple of years from now?
No, absolutely not. It was a job out of nowhere. So yeah, I was thrilled.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, so how did it come about? Did you get a call from your agent? Did someone invite you to the audition? Yeah, how did it start? How did you
Yeah,
get there?
so I'd met with the producers and the directors a few years before, so it was just a phone call and a meeting to sort of go over the play in their offices, which was really short and sweet. And I wasn't sure if it was an offer. I wasn't really sure what the meeting was, but I think it was another vibe check and just
Mhm.
reading through the play. But then I also was like, I don't want to go and just read the lines. I want to show that I can do it. So I ended up sort of performing it a bit just around a tiny little table with James Bierman and Justin Martin, and it was just a very tight, intimate environment. But we had a laugh, and it was just a really nice meeting.
Yeah, well, so that seems like a daunting and exciting at the same time. You've got the producer and director, and you're there
Yeah,
just want to give them a
just away.
performance.
Yeah.
Yeah, just can blow them away from via a seat and everything. But no, it's brilliant. So for anyone who is unfamiliar with the play, so it's about a young lawyer called Tessa Ensler. She is a criminal barrister who has worked her way up from a working class background to get into the bar. And she defends people in sexual assault cases. And just a little trigger warning, we're going to go over some of these things right now. Then she uses her experience to navigate the law and to help people within these certain cases. And unfortunately, something terrible happens to her one night, and she then uses her experience to try and bring this subject to justice. And through that time, she realizes that the law towards these cases is not fair and is not doing enough. Some people, tragically so, are getting off with committing a terrible crime. And of course, the big message of the play is something has to change. So tell me about your experience of this play. I know you were the understudies, but you did get a show, which we'll get onto in a second. But what does this play mean to you, Lauren?
I mean, I think it means a lot to so many people. It's really hard to articulate. I think as a woman and having my own experiences of the topic of the show, having friends that have experienced things that are dealt with in the show, it felt like a huge privilege and honor to be part of something. But the show is bigger than any of us individually, so it feels like its own beast that we're all sort of carrying with us. And everywhere that we went, hearing the stories. I mean, I spoke to Georgia at the start when we were in rehearsal. Just I wanted to understand more about the audiences that they'd seen so far, because I knew that we're having such a big reaction to it, and I never got to see it in the theatre.
Yeah.
To just understand, like it has a transcendent presence globally at the
Yeah.
time that I was joining it. So yeah, it felt really personal to me, but then on a larger scale, it just felt like a huge privilege to be able to carry a small piece of it along
Yeah.
for the tour.
Yeah, no, it's funny because I was lucky enough to see Suzie Miller's recording. She did a live podcast recording a few weeks ago, and she said she was in the audience for the first preview, and she said within 2 hours my career could either be completely over, or I
Yeah.
could have actually done something. And of course, it did it took off and everything was okay. But the stories that have come out of this thing, there's the story that now barristers in Northern Ireland or Republic of Ireland, one of the two, that who are involved in these cases have to watch the NT live screening, well, recording of Prima Facie as part of their training. And there was and Susie actually said that after one night she got a phone call from a top London barrister who said, hi, is this Suzie Miller? I said, yeah. So I came to see your play last night, and she's thinking, oh shit, did I get something wrong? Have I got to rewrite something? And she went, no, I was really inspired by your play, and I spent all night thinking about it, and now I'm going to implement the changes into my practice as a result of seeing this play.
Wow.
And you're like, wow, I mean, this all comes from a piece of art, and it shows you that art changes the world. And this is something I've mentioned on here many, many times, and I'm going to keep saying it because it's
True.
fucking true, And yeah, but what was it like taking this play around the country? I mean, meeting all different people, different locations. Yeah, how was it?
It was amazing. It's one of the greatest experiences of my life, genuinely. I think obviously being an understudy and the role that I had could have been quite isolating. I had to learn the play and then carry it and sort of be ready without doing it, which was the job. But then also to be stepping into a new group of already formed friends and dynamics, and then to be not in my own home and to be on the road. I was really nervous about doing it, but But I've learned so much, and sort of traveling around with the rest of the crew was amazing. We've had so many experiences. I'm still processing all of them now.
Yeah, and because it's we were talking before we came on. Obviously, we're in this period of like a show post show blues and everything right now, and I think a lot of people it's just missing it already. But it's funny, like when you walk down the street, and no matter where you go in the country, you'll just hear a line from the play, and you'll go. And I don't know about you, but sometimes instinct kicks in, and you want to say the next line, and then the next line after that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, totally. We had that so much, just around every time anyone would say anything, like eye roll or all the lines have escaped me now, but it felt like every line that you ever use was in that place somewhere. But yeah, it's never far from any of our minds. It hasn't been, and I'm sure it'll take a while to completely leave us all.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's all part of the experience. No, but I've interviewed Danny Arlington, who's been on here. I've given her so many shout outs, Danny. If you're listening, here's another one. But she talked about wrote a spotlight article a few years ago talking about the rewards and also the challenges of being an understudy because, like you said there, it feels like. Obviously, I've yet to have this experience, but it feels like it can be an isolating experience because you're kind of waiting for is that thinking like and you're kind of waiting in the wings going is it tonight is it not it's like obviously you got to make sure that Jodie's all right and everything, and if something does happen and I think there's a story we talked about with Danny that when they went to New York there was a Canadian wildfire which affected the quality of the air in the theater, and Jodie had to stop after 5 minutes because she couldn't breathe properly, and then George had to come out and say, look, we are going to continue with the show, but Jodie's not going to carry on, but her understudy is going to come on. And of course that wasn't planned. It was literally ran up to her dressing room door going, okay, Danny, we need you now, I was like, she's probably having a cup of tea going,
Oh yeah, well, I'm ready.
what and she's like, no, yeah, now we need you now. I was like,
Yeah.
fuck, okay. Right, so you get the gear on and everything, but so some of those questions I asked her, I'll now point to you. So first things first, which is probably a question you've heard many, many times, but how did you learn this thing? Because this thing is huge.
I know. I've never learned this much before, and it took ages, but I didn't have long. I only had December to learn it.
Month.
Yeah, I learned it in a month, and it was I just took a walk. The first day that I started learning it, I was like, okay, I'm going to put two scenes away today, and for the first page just wasn't going in. I was like, it's not happening. Or every time I went back to the start, I would just learn like the second page and the first one was gone. And I was like, it's not staying in. But it did go in. And I think just loads of walks, just drilling it over and over again. There's actually 18 scenes. It's split into 18 scenes, even though it comes as one. And I've recorded each one on my phone, and I would listen to it and say it along with myself over and over again until it becomes like a bit of a song and there's a rhythm to it, because we all know so many lyrics to songs that we haven't sung in years, and when we hear it we'll know the lyrics. So you have to kind of learn it as in a rhythm, as a bit of a song, so that it locks in. But yeah, it took a while for sure.
Yeah, I mean, so when you spoke it into your phone, did you speak it like in your normal speaking voice, or did you like your normal rhythm, which you speak now, or was it kind of like sped up? Because one thing I learned was to like drill the lines by going really, really fast. So, like for example, to be or not to be, that is the question. But just know what the mind sings now is about Rage's Fortune. So, did you speak it like that pace, or did you speak it like as Lauren default mode?
Well, it's funny enough, I did both. I did the first time I read it, I hadn't fully, I didn't know how I was going to play it. So it was just the line. So I was doing it quite slow. And then I did a second round where I knew more of how I might play it. And those were a bit faster. But I remember I lost my voice in December at the end. It was completely gone.
Oh, no.
There was a point where I was like, I don't know that I'm going to be able to do it. And it's just, I thought I had the thing, sometimes people lose their voice and it never comes back. I was genuinely concerned that would be me.
Yeah, it's
but
devil voice, yeah.
This is you now forever. And I did record myself during that time because I was trying to do the new versions of the scene. So a couple of the voice notes that I've got are just like a really scratchy version of it. But yeah, you have to learn with pace because it's so fast. So you have to, as soon as you can get used to that, the better it will be.
Yeah, I think like I get an image now of you're listening to one section, you go, University Law School,
Yeah, it's like the end scene as
Cambridge,
well. Horrible. Yeah,
first
yeah.
day, Cambridge. Who is this person? I don't know
Yeah.
who that person is. Oh shit, it's me. But yeah, but what was it like when you? Because I think I remember speaking to Danny about it, and she said she had 3 months to learn it, and so I remember her saying that she was just staring at this script for the first like 2 or 3 days is thinking, how is this going to go in? How is this going to go in? And of course, it's actually, this might be a really simple, I know it's a really simple answer to this next question, but which is just stay with it and just keep drilling at it. But when you got over that initial hurdle of just getting the first 2 pages done, did the rest of the script just kind of pour in? Or was it just, yeah, well, what was your experience of that?
Kind of. After, yeah, when I started learning it in blocks and in scenes and kept going over it, it started to become easier. And luckily, I've got some amazing friends that would drill lines with me just for hours,
Oh,
um,
brilliant.
and pick it up and correct it where I was going wrong. But it does get easier, and it's one of the things that I've learned is that I genuinely thought at one stage I was going to have to put a call into my agent to be like, I can't. It's not. I can't do it. But I
Mm,
did, and I really didn't think that I would.
mm.
I did. So yeah, you can do the hard things, and I mean Jodie did it, Danny did it. It's possible.
Oh,
You
yeah.
just have to keep at it with lines.
Yeah, was it like and of course like because of the nature of the play itself and just to let you know guys we'll touch on some spoilers in case any of you haven't seen the play or haven't read it yet. But in terms of the play itself, because it deals with such a hard topic, and you mentioned earlier that you talking about friends who shared their experiences. And I know Georgia talked about a lot of the time people who shared their own stories from the original crew in the rehearsal room, and of course
Yeah.
they've had people submit their stories via like a say if they wrote a card to the company or they've talked about it on social media or whatever. But because this is such a hard topic and you have to say these lines again and again, and particularly like the scene where she goes back to her house with Julian, and what happens, and so how do you look after yourself? How do you sort of keep like in? How do you look after yourself when you're saying such difficult lines again and again and again?
I think there's quite a detachment to it sometimes, especially when you're just doing it to know that you've got the pace and the lines correct. I wasn't when I learned it in a rhythm, a bit of a song to do it first, and then it was only when I was ready to put feeling into it and consider what I was saying it felt like a different work process than just getting the lines in, just so that I was able to manage it because it is really heavy and it does. You never know what it's going to bring up for you every time, and I was working every day learning these lines and doing it, and I couldn't. It would have been a lot for me to continuously do the same scene over and over again,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then go back to the start and then there was so much work to do. So, in order to help myself, yeah, I split it into just line learning and then really thinking about the lines and putting emotion into them.
Yeah, yeah, and it's interesting because you want to sort of deliver like the best you can, And again, this is a question I have for Jodie when I interview her. That how did you like protect yourself each night? And of course, I was speaking to someone who's done it in New Zealand as well, called Cassandra Woodhouse. Big shout out to her. She's been on here a couple of times talking about the play as well, and she talked about regulating your nervous system in a way because even though in our heads we know that it's fiction, it's theatre, it's not actually us, but your body doesn't know the difference. And it was really fascinating because you have to re-regulate your nervous system and just say to yourself, look, this isn't us going through this, this isn't
Yeah,
me going through this every night, this is just a performance. And of
yeah.
course you want to give your best performance and make it look real, of course you do, but you don't want to harm yourself in any way. So like, and of course you had a big supportive network around you. So what kind of support did you give for yourself and what did you get from the company while you were rehearsing?
I mean, there was so much support from the company. What someone once said to me, when I did a short film when I was younger, and it was about the death of my dad and my fictional dad, and there was a lot of crying
Oh
every day,
wow.
and I would just go home and just hug my dad. And I just remember someone on set saying that acting takes a lot of doing, but it takes a lot of undoing as well, and you
Mm,
have to give yourself time to do both. So personally, if I was rehearsing that particular scene, I would um like get myself into the zone to do it, and then give myself space afterwards to kind of come out of it and not force being, chat available to like chat and socialize if you needed the time and space to do that. And the team are just amazing. I mean, George's support from the beginning was incredible.
Yeah.
Just knowing that there was support available to you is, even if you don't need it, is super valuable. So you don't have to go searching for it. You know that it's there whenever you need it. And we had a drama therapist, Bria, I think Georgia mentioned on her podcast, who was also amazing. And if we ever needed a session, we could book in with her and just kind of let whatever was going through flow out and have someone else hold what you're feeling. It was invaluable on the tour.
Yeah. So I don't think I've heard that before. A drama therapist, is it literally just, and this might be a silly question, but in terms of what is a drama therapist? Is it literally someone there, like, a therapist there with the company and saying if anyone wants to chat or get anything off their chest, you come and talk to me? Is that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've used the right term. She's certainly qualified in lots of different areas, but for this particular role, she was available to support and be there for us if we needed. Not in well, sometimes she was there physically actually,
Yeah.
but just have catch-ups on Zoom and just have check-ins that would deal specifically with the show that we were working on, because she was well versed in all of it, and also anything else that was going on. She's qualified, and also she was an actor. She is an actor herself, so she can relate on so many levels.
Yeah, brilliant. I think that's really helpful. I talked about a show called A Little Life and stuff, and now they were given therapy and stuff, and like, so I think it's great now that we've seen it in a couple of examples. Prima Facie, A Little Life, where people are actually offered like support and help, and I'm sure there's plenty of others which I'm not mentioning either right now. But it's the derobing. I think one thing that's come out of this for me is the derobing afterwards, because some people can just, I suppose, like an old way of, like, if you're in the 60s or if you're in the 70s, you just go, oh, that's it, we're done, and you just walk off stage and go get a pint in the bar. Whereas now, if you're playing a character like Tessa, I imagine that you have this experience where you walk off stage, or you finish like learning, doing a line run, in your case, or when you finished your show in Bath, which we'll get onto in a moment, where you just kind of walk off and go, okay, right, we're done here, we're done for tonight. But was that correct? Am I on the right lines there?
Absolutely, just having the time afterwards. I mean, I wasn't doing the show every night, but it is just to have, when I did it for myself, it was having a bit of time just to myself to process and calm down and sort of step out of the character and back into Lauren and know that you're safe and it's not happening to you.
I think more than anything, it's just about just looking after yourself. So so you got a show in Bath. You actually and I think it's great because some understudies probably sit backstage for the whole run and sadly get, it's true, they get overlooked, or like sometimes they don't get a chance to show the hard work that they've done, because especially on something like this as well, learning a mountain of lines and then just kind of not being given the chance to show that and showcase your skills and your interpretation of Tessa as well. But you mentioned there earlier about it was part of the school's consent project as well. So you were given the chance to perform for them and also for family, friends, etc., saying that I'm doing this, that, and the other. So how was it performing Tessa?
Who knows? I can barely remember it. It was so fast. No, it was amazing. There was loads of little things that went wrong, or that I came off and was like, oh, I just wish I hadn't done that, or it wasn't how I planned to do it. But I think it was such a massive learning opportunity for me, because you only get one sort of guaranteed show, so that there was so much pressure on doing it just the once, because you don't have the opportunity to do it again the next night or whatever. So I definitely had an idea of exactly the way that I wanted to do it, that felt truthful, the way I'd rehearsed it. And of course, as soon as I turned around and started it had a life of its own, and I was just sort of like, okay, this is how I'm feeling, because you don't know what it will feel like to do it with this audience. You don't know, where I was previously in the morning, how I felt. All of these things affect how you will perform that day. So the biggest thing for me coming off was just sort of going, well, like this is live theatre. It's the beauty of it. You can't plan for it. It's live. So things are gonna trip you up. I mean, as soon as I got down off the stage, I smashed the microphone off the table. There was wires everywhere. And I was like, okay,
Right.
so how do and I need that. So and my mind's doing a million things going, okay, I need to pick that up. There is another mic. I could swap that, but when am I going to swap that? So, okay, I'm going to move a table in a minute. So my mind's doing this while I'm doing the show. And then I heard voices off stage and I realized that they were talking. Like Georgia was there, Jem was there on comms, doing the sound. They had got a plan of how they were going to fix it and they fixed it. And that's the support. They snuck on in a little ninja suit, took it off, fixed it, brought it back. And I didn't even see them. But the support was there. It was an amazing, amazing experience for sure.
Yeah, I didn't know that actually. You see some stagehands. I mean, that's why they wear black, I suppose, really, because
Yeah.
they can move in the shadows and be like, just there's your microphone. Okay.
Yeah. You're fine.
And you turn around and then you go, oh, wait, I must pick up that mic. Shit, where's it gone?
It was exactly that.
Yeah.
I put it on the table in bits, and the next time I looked, it was fully back to like brand new. I was like, when did that happen? So,
Very stealthy, very clever. Well done, Georgia. I think big another shout out to her as well. Because not only did she create just a brilliant, like, safe environment for you guys as well, but also I see the way she interacted with fans at the stage door and everything, taking gifts that they've bought and cards for Jodie and everything, and she just excels at what she does. So Georgia, if you're listening, congratulations again on everything that you do. And I think someone actually gave her I think on Wednesday last week, someone gave her a Liverpool shirt to give to Jodie, and Jodie's an Everton fan.
I didn't see that one, but it said Jodie on the back. I think
I don't
someone
know.
spoke about it.
I don't know, but I mean, this is either a very cruel prank or someone's actually, bless them, doesn't realise that she supports the blue side of Liverpool.
Yeah, the thought was there.
Yeah, exactly. I can see him rocking up to the queue going, it's like, oh yeah, I've got this for Jodie. Uncle, what have you got? And I've got this shirt with Liverpool on it. It's like, it's like, what? It's like, why? What's wrong? You're like, you do realise she supports Everton, right? And it's like, who?
No.
Oh, bless them. But the thought was there, though. The thought was there. But I was like, I gave Georgia a card to pass on to Jodie, so hopefully she's got it, and we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah.
But it's interesting about you mentioned the school consents project. So I remember we talked about it. We've talked about it a little bit on here on previous episodes. But what exactly is it? What's the school consents project?
Schools Consent Project. So I think they started. They were doing work with Prima Facie from the start, and then have been running alongside it ever since. And since they were in Broadway, they're now able to do the work that they've left a hub there for the work to continue in the States, which is amazing.
Fantastic.
But they work with schools, and I think the ages can be from like 14, maybe probably all the way through, but up to 18. Just learning about the law, and they have lawyers that come in and speak to them about consent and what it means. And also I listened into I did a few talks with them, and just sort of the language that's used around sexual assault and how to spot it. And so they gave examples, and it's just really an awareness task, and highlighting what is currently happening and the way that things are framed that you wouldn't even realize, but that can be really biased in the way that the system is currently, and to start that education from a school age is so necessary. It's fantastic, the work that they're doing.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's ultimately it's raising awareness about it, because I think because this play deals with such big topics, and I think actually having gone to see it live, I don't know if you have this experience, but if I on the cinema screen, you obviously you went to see it each time, and each time you see something different, of course. But when you see it live and you're really engaged with Jodie, or whether if it was yourself on stage, you hit the lines just kind of hit differently in some ways, and particularly in the final 2/3 of the play, when she's being grilled, when she goes thoroughbred and bang, yes, no, yes, no, yes, yes, no. I think in the cinema recording that's very fast, And it's like bum, 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 bum. Whereas this one, I could tell that it was slowed down. It was like yes, no. Is that
Yeah.
was that part of your rehearsal process as well? Like, imagine hearing someone ask you a question and then you naturally take the time to think and then respond. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. They were working on that in the rehearsal room, and I think it was just to kind of show the the listening between the questions, and you as an audience are sort of willing it to move on. It's because obviously you noticed it, so yourself you feel sort of in the silences a bit uncomfortable with what's being asked, and obviously
Mm,
Tess is there considering, knowing herself that her words might be twisted, that this is going to be the lasting, like this is her documentation, this is her evidence. It's going to be documented, so she's got to be really considered in what she says and careful, and it starts off that way. But I think that's it also speeds up towards when they really start to mess with her, and her confusion seeps in. And so I think that it really works to start it off really slow, like she's got a hold on it. Her own evidence with her lawyer has gone really well in the prosecution. She's happy and she's ready, and this is it. And to sort of see the unraveling of all of that, I think works really well in the fact that it speeds up with her confusion and frustration.
yeah, and then for me, it's like the bit after that when that section became a bit more clearer, and like how this thoroughbred lawyer, I think one line in the play is the best defense barrister money can buy, and of course it's Julian, who's the son of a QC who probably got connections in all the right places, conveniently enough,
Yeah.
sadly, and the way that and suddenly that argument became a bit clearer, and it was like when he said, so when you're looking for that place in Chambers, because Tessa's like gets, remember the scene where she's got the Victoria's Secret bag, and
Yeah,
she
yeah.
goes, a QC bumps into me and goes, I love the work she's doing, what a compliment, and says, I want you to offer you a space in my chambers. And of course, who else is up for that spot?
Yeah.
Julian. And they twist, and then suddenly I heard the twisting of that argument into,
Yeah.
was that, so all this, is this a way to get him out of that chambers? Is this your way of promoting yourself? And it's like, well, hang on a minute.
Absolutely, yeah. They're establishing motive for this whole thing to be a hoax and a lie, and the fact that the audience, you've seen that how that came about, how she was with her Victoria's Secret bag being complimented on her own work. There was never any malice, or she didn't even know that
Mm,
he was up for the same job or anything like that. This is all news to her. She says it to Richard. I never knew this. And then misses a question. Was there a question? It's all coming to her at the same time it's coming to the audience.
mm.
But yeah, how cleverly they can twist things that didn't happen to make them seem like malicious intent.
Yeah. And it's like, never trust your gut instinct. There is only one truth, and that's legal truth.
Yeah, yeah,
And even though that's bollocks,
yeah,
the thing that it's not motivated, well, I think, and then suddenly, because and on top of that, there's unfortunate situation. I think this just happens after the main event, well, the event that happens with Julian, and she says she starts running through in her brain. She goes, "Have you slept with the defendant before? Did you invite him to your home? Who saw you? The Uber driver, gelato server, waiter at the restaurant. All of them saw us having a great time."
yeah. The
And
optics are bad.
if you bring those into the court, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, they were laughing. There was no indication whatsoever." And suddenly, it's all down to hearsay.
Yeah,
And but it happened, and yeah, and when that scene in particular, I was just like, "Oh, fucking hell!"
yeah. That hits really hard. I had a friend that came to watch mine as well, and it was the first time that he'd seen it, and he said that that was the bit that really got him, when it's right after the event, and she just goes into like the witnesses, there was a lot of sake drunk by the both of you, witnesses
Mhm.
giggling, and it's just she's gone right there straight away because she knows, because she's been a defense lawyer herself, so she's fully aware of how this might go and what it looks like. But armed with the truth, she continues, and that's her choice, and that's why it's so sad to see what happens.
Yeah, and I think she's inspired. I think obviously there's a scene where she goes, legal instinct tells me this is a losing case, but
Mm,
she finds that that strength inside of her to say no, 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 no. We cannot let this just be brushed off, dismissed. I can't forget about this because you know she was violated, and she can't just let that just wash away, and she can't just forget about it, and there's, I think, I love the scene where her mum comes in and she hands her a beach bag and I think it's brilliant because the pink shirt, is it the polyester shirt? It's like, I saw it on sale. It looks like something a lawyer would wear. It's not, and she pulls it up and she holds it like that, and she goes, "Don't let the bastards get you down, even if they get away with it. Don't let them ruin our Tessa."
Yeah.
And now, how did you find that fighting spirit in her while you were practicing this?
I think that's the character of Mum is so personal to me, to Jodie. I'm sure just we've all got those kind of female relationships in our lives that are empowering, and I think just in that bit where she takes that shirt and hugs it to herself, and I feel like there's a moment there where it feels like you have the support of everyone that loves you and that believes you and trusts you, and that's also the audience as well. And then that's the next lines. She's emboldened by it. She puts the shirt on, it's what she wears, it's like she's carrying everyone with her to go. And so the strength is found from the people that support and the sort of community that the show brings.
Yeah, and of course, there's the devastating bit is where she says, I hold my head up and it makes me feel something good. And then, of course, I'm going to mention the soundtrack as well. Self-Esteem, Rebecca Lucy Taylor, amazing soundtrack. And I can see. Did you ever have an experience where you were in the wings and sort of literally just watching Jodie and then you watching the reactions of the audience? Did you ever get the opportunity to see live reactions while you were on tour?
Yeah, I mean, I watched it a few times just from the soundbox at the back with Jem. So I was able to experience it in every venue just to sort of be part of that, and to be shoulder to shoulder with everyone. And it is remarkable. It's nothing like watching the NT live, and I think that is just because you're in the room that are having the same experience at the same time. I mean, yourself, it's so powerful. So yeah, I got to do that many times. Sometimes I was in the wing at the start of the show, just kind of watching, because the video stuff at the end and the music and the applause, it's goosebumps every time. But yeah.
What were some reactions that stuck out for you? Was there some reactions that made you go, "Oh wow"?
I mean, yeah, I watched it in Dublin, actually sat in the audience, and the woman next to me was just sobbing, but she'd been crying from a lot of different bits, and shaking her head at so much of the courtroom things, and it really made me go, so this is somebody that seems to know, or that has been through this. And I think that's the same for a lot of the women, because unfortunately, like the show says, it is 1 in 3. So whether it's you or it's the people around you, we're all very aware of this subject and what's happened. So yeah, just there's always tears, there's visceral reactions, and then there's at the end, it just takes a lot of time for people to sort of move out. It's a very slow process. But Georgia, before we went to any theatre, briefed all the theatres and was in talks with them just about what the nature of the show was, and how it couldn't just be everyone out, the show's over. There was a time to unravel themselves from the audience, because it's extremely heavy and it can bring up a lot of emotion. And so yeah, and I saw that myself.
Yeah, no, there was, on both occasions last week, there was, I mean, particularly on the last night, there was a lady from 2 rows. By the way, someone's phone went off on the last performance. There's a lady in front of me. I was just like, "Oh, shut up!" But I thought, no, concentrate, just block it out, out.
Yeah.
Jodie, okay. But there's a lady sort of a row and a bit down for me to my left, and particularly throughout, I think from the line, particularly the voir dire moment, pretty much from the start of that all the way to the end, she was just in floods and floods of tears, and there was people sniffling all around me and stuff like that. So all these women, and I just thought, I mean, I don't know, it didn't make me this might sound a bit silly, but it didn't make me feel ashamed to be a man or anything, but it just made me feel like, oh God. And also 1 in 3 women, 1 in 3 men, perpetrators.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
makes you think, I wonder what some perpetrator, if there was, which I probably heavily assume now, but I think there probably was some perpetrators who went to see this in one way or another.
Mm,
The shame, well,
mm,
we hope anyway, the
yeah.
shame that happens when they watch that play and they walk out that theatre thinking, sadly, some might go, oh, well, I got away with it.
Yeah.
Or some people go, oh, that
Really
wasn't
reflect
good.
on, yeah,
Yeah,
actions.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's so important for men to see it as well, just to
Oh,
open the
God, yeah.
dialogue. And like um even in the school's consent project, it was strangely, there was a lot of, sometimes it was just very heavy on the females. And one of the things that Justin had, spoken about in his work was saying, how do we get young boys in here? Like, this is, it's them that needs to see it, um and sort of be part of it. So it's, yeah, it's so important for men and boys to see it, and not to like bash males, but just to sort of
No,
be open the dialogue and be part of the conversation about attitudes towards it.
yeah. And did you see Inter Alia? Have you seen that yet?
I actually haven't seen it yet, but I'm going to see the next run of it, which is so exciting. I know they're in tech now, but I'm hearing amazing things. I
Oh,
can't.
yes. Yeah, I was lucky enough to see it at the National last year and NT Live as well. I know they did an NT Live screening from the Littleton as well. Do you know much about it? Because I've got a story. So
I don't want it to be spoiled, because I've stayed away because I'm so excited to see it. But if you've got, will it have a
I
spoiler
think
in it?
I do have a story. Okay, I'm not sure if I can.
Oh, go on then. Go
No,
on
no,
then.
no, 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 no. I know. I think it might give it away. No.
I've heard people talk about it before. I know that, I think I heard you say that it was the victim is off stage or something, and not
Oh yeah,
not.
I did. I did say that, didn't
Yeah.
I?
But I know, so I know bits and bobs around that, but I don't know what happens.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So it's from this. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I can find an angle. I can find an angle here. So yeah, the victim is off stage, and you see this is more towards the perspective of the perpetrator.
Mm.
That's not a spoiler, so that's okay. But I'll let you find out what happens. Yeah, and you'll love it as well. It's like I remember someone calling it Prima Facie's mother in some ways.
Yeah.
And I went along and I thought, yeah, this has got Suzie Miller's trademark
Yeah,
on there, definitely.
yeah.
But you're gonna love it and just enjoy the show. And yeah, yeah, but please let me know what you think after you go and see it. I'd love to hear your thoughts. But there was one member of our party. I think I mentioned before, like someone said, "Oh, I had stopped 2 of my friends from doing that before,"
Mm.
and but there was another person who shall remain nameless was just staring at the cinema screen after it finished, and she was completely still. And we're thinking, "Shit, is everything okay? What's going on?" And then eventually she stood up. We walked out into the foyer, and she revealed that her daughter, who tragically did pass a few years ago, went through this something like the victim went through,
Mm.
and I don't think she'd ever really spoken to anyone about it until that moment, until that play just went in there and triggered something,
Mm.
and of course in a good way as well, because then it gets the stories out. And yes, I know it's difficult and these things are hard to talk about, but in a way it helps with the healing process, I think, and I'm not speaking for everyone here, it's just my opinion. But yeah, it was a bit like, and I felt a little bit guilty. I thought, oh God, if I'd known what this, because I'd already seen it, and I thought, if I'd known, I wouldn't have invited you along. I'm really sorry. She was like, no, 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 don't worry, don't apologize. I think she said, I needed to see that. I didn't,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Sort of
mhm,
have her own experiences like spoken about, and the story be told is such a powerful thing in order to process and move forward. And
yeah,
that's what it does. Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, I'll let you discover it for yourself. And do you sing it? Are you singing next week or?
Possibly the week after. I'm not sure. I don't know where I am at the
Uh,
moment.
okay, it's fine, fine. Yeah,
Still can't tell.
but when you do see it, let me know what you think.
I
And
will.
yeah, it's there's a lot of similarities there, but that's all I'll say. Um, who is Tessa to you, Lauren?
Um, Tessa to me is, I mean, the way that I built her or that I think about her is a culmination of so many women in my life, to be honest, and all of their experiences. Um, it's, I mean, I changed bits of the story to make it personal to me, as in the from Nottingham, and the characters that she has in her sort of circle are based on people that I know, the struggles that we've all been through, and yeah, I just see her as so much bigger than just one person. She's a culmination. She tells the story of just so many women that um, there's a little part of all of us in Tessa.
Yes.
So yeah, I feel like she's a little part of me, but so much more about my friends and my circle, and the experiences that we've had together.
Yeah. Yeah, what would you say this experience has given you, and what did it? Yeah, what would it leave behind? Do you think this whole experience?
I mean, this was my first experience of theatre professionally.
Oh,
I've being on a tour.
it's impressive, man. It's impressive.
Thank you. I mean, it was a privilege.
Yeah.
I was just so nervous and so full of doubt about whether or not I could do it and what it would mean to be an understudy on such a big show, and how it would feel with also it wasn't a comedy. It was a really serious show with elements of comedy.
Of course. Yeah.
But just what it would feel like to sort of be part of it. And what I've learned is that it was so much more about the work for me, because the reward doesn't come from doing the show. It comes from building relationships with the people on the tour, and being in the rehearsal room with Jodie and Justin, and finding new friends, and just yeah, everything that makes you nervous and that makes you want to shrink into sort of like an introverted space of I don't know that it's so unknown, it's so scary to me. Just yeah, the whole process has been massively rewarding, in a different way than I expected it to be.
Yeah, it's. I mean, well, again, congratulations, your first ever theatre gig, or professional theatre gig, and doing that, that's honestly, it's amazing. I think a lot of people would love to be in that position, and but we talked about the role of the understudy and how it can be a bit isolating, and and not, sadly, you're not, first on the bill, and I don't mean that in any kind of disrespectful way, but yeah, what's it? How did you get through the times when it did feel a bit isolating, or if you felt a bit on your own, or yeah, how did you get through that?
Well, I think I just can't stress enough that the sisterhood was so real on the show. It was like it was something that I heard of. I was nervous about stepping into because it was already there. It existed without me, before me. Um, and but yeah, I just found that there was so much support in that group. And be it and touring with the crew, and just there was so many laughs, there was so much fun, and like giggles all the time backstage, even right before the show when we did a little dance party. It wasn't like a dark scary place to be, which is what I was really worried about, that it would just be me alone in my dressing room rocking back and forward thinking like, is it going to be any moment now? But there was so much fun to be had. There's so many pockets of amazing things. I learned so much. Sometimes I was backstage, I went on as the ninja, when we were in Birmingham, I think it was. And, during the rain, I dressed up in all black with the gloves on and went and moved a few props around.
Yeah.
I was on the mic. I did a few bits, just calling like stand by, whatever I said to Jazz. Saw the fly floor where they were pulling the folders. It was such an incredibly inspiring experience. And I just immersed myself in the whole process, not just my little corner of it, which I trusted myself to be able to put to the back of my mind on the back burner, knowing that it was there ready if I ever needed to call upon it. And then just enjoyed myself, which was only made possible by the amazing support and of the crew that we were with.
Yeah. Did you ever have like I can see you guys maybe going for like walks or stuff during the day. So if you're just on a single show day, obviously you have your matinee days as well. But like if you're a single show day, so you've got most of the day to yourself, and then I imagine like you guys going for like a long walk and you're just doing a speed run as you're going for a walk around Bath or Dublin or Canterbury or wherever you were. Was that the thing? Did you do a little refresher every day?
I did all the time. Yeah, every day I would run the whole show really fast, normally on a walk myself. But before I did the show in Bath, I still had time on stage. So the Wednesdays were often time to do a bit of rehearsal, to like get familiar with the props and the lighting and stuff like that. So it was only really in the last few weeks after I'd done my show that we had even more time to sort of be together. And yeah, we did loads of stuff. We were exploring each city, going to
Yeah.
cathedrals, going for walks, just having coffee, having brunch, getting to know each other. It was amazing.
Fantastic. Yeah. So when you were in the rehearsal process, obviously some people, I remember Danny talking about she had like a separate room or something like that, but she was also encouraged to come and watch the main rehearsal room and listening to notes that Justin was giving to Jodie. And it felt like a nice balance between the two. She'd have time to work with the associate director, and then she'd have time to watch and observe. Was that your experience?
Yeah, in a really sort of intense 2 week period, we had the first week was I observed Jodie pretty much the whole time, and then in the second week, I had more time with Jane Moriarty, the assistant director, who's
Yes, Jane.
incredible.
Yeah.
We broke off into a room upstairs where I could go over scenes with her, and it was a lot of after, like in the evening, we did rehearsals there, or snatched moments at lunch breaks where I could be on the table. But yeah, it was just really intense because obviously it was just the 2 weeks, so it was a bit of everything all at once. But so grateful to have little pockets of time to go and do my own thing, and then
Mm,
watch the masterclass of Jodie and Justin working
yeah.
together.
Yeah, it's brilliant. What's it like working with Jodie?
She's fantastic. As I said to you earlier, she's everything that you think she's going to be. She's so kind and sweet, and genuinely fantastic. I mean, she's phenomenal. Watching her take a note on, absorb it, and then just do it straight away. Like she is a genius.
Yeah.
And that was one of the reasons that I wanted to do this job, just to sort of observe and learn, and see her do it. She's incredibly inspiring. Yeah, it was amazing to work with her.
Yeah. Was there one scene in particular where you would ask Jane a lot of questions or Jodie a lot of questions, be like, this scene, this moment, I can't seem to get it. I mean, was it, or and then they'd say like one thing and they'd be like, oh, okay, that's how you do it. Or did you sort of find the whole thing pretty much at ease with it?
I don't really know if there was a specific scene, and the scene, the most technical scene, I think, was, apart from the first scene, which is so much moving around, getting dressed on stage. Um, the scene where she, in the second half, where she recounts bumping into Julian twice, and the scene's called Twice. Um, there's so many different people and so much emotion in that, and bumping into him and his reaction, because you play him in his lines, and then go back to Tessa, and then he walks off, and there's the line where he's like, well, sorry if I upset you somehow, and she's like, upset me somehow, you know.
Mm.
And then immediately Alice comes in, then she's photocopying, and then she's with the KC. So there's so many different characters that are um in that scene, and flicking between the both of them was really difficult, and you have to go through it really slowly, and to technically know exactly who you're talking to and what you feel, because it's so fast.
Mm,
So I
yeah.
think that was the one that I found really difficult, to sort of land, and also just the staging of it and moving around. But yeah.
Yeah, it's very fast. I mean, like I know from my own experience as well. Like when you learn a scene that's so fast paced, like
Yeah.
it takes a few attempts, and you try it for the first time, and you go, crap, okay, and then you try it again, and it's like, oh, and then third, you're like, oh God, is this thing ever going to go in? And then
Yeah.
yeah. But again, it's all just practice. Just got to keep at it and everything.
Yeah.
But I got to ask you again about Bath. What was it like that moment where, in fact, well, two things, in fact. First of all, because you get soaked on stage as well when you leave your flat and then you walk for 3 hours and then you get into a cab. But what was that moment like on stage, being like just you're trying to get all these hugely emotional words out, and you're also getting rained on as well on stage
Yeah,
in front of the audience. What was that bit like?
it really adds to it. Just being the rain is a really incredible tool to sort of put you even more into that moment. And it's so just, you're it's confusing and you're disorientated, and so all of that works together really well to help aid the emotion of it all. But the rain is warm, so it's not a
Mm.
shock. And yeah, but then when I did my show, my the rain like knocked my contact lens, and so it was
Oh
sort of like
no.
flipped my eye. And I remember being like, so when am I gonna, how am I gonna, I don't, and that was in because I went after I did that scene, I was in the quick change little tiny booth that Amy and Liv, our costume and hair and makeup girls are, and you have a really quick change and there's 2 minutes, and I'm there going, "Oh, shall I do I just take it out or am I blinking?" But I just couldn't see, it was so blurry and wet, and I sort of
Right.
stood there not doing anything, and I should have been helping take my bits off, and Liv had to gently be like, "Oh, Lauren, like there's 1 foot in here." But it happened so fast.
Yeah.
And yeah, just the whole scene, you don't just land there, it's a journey. So by the time you get there, you are feeling all the feelings, and yeah, the rain just adds to it.
Yeah, I think I remember Jodie telling a story that when they first got it in, it was freezing cold, and there was
Yeah.
one time she was trying to get her lines out, and she was like,
Yeah, yeah,
and you were like, okay, stop, stop, stop. Okay, like,
yeah,
look,
exactly.
you have to heat this up. I can't talk.
I can't get the words out.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
I'd like to have seen that. Yeah, but I remember Justin talking about that. He rang Jodie up one time and said, I'm gonna wet you," and she was like, "Okay, so it's all gonna be fine. It's all gonna be safe, you know. So I think it'd be good for the scene." Blah 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 blah. And then she went, "Oh yeah, okay, bring it on,
Yeah.
bring it on. See what we're doing." Yeah.
I mean,
And that-
Justin's a genius. He knows what he's doing. So
Yeah, so I've been lucky enough to interview Justin as well. What was it like working with him as well, and just the whole directorial team, him, Jay Moriarty, everybody. Yeah,
they're amazing. They're so kind and patient, and um, they completely understand where you're at whenever you say anything. I mean, that was my experience of it all. And I was so nervous at the end of the rehearsal period that just I hadn't had enough time, or that I wasn't ready. And Justin was like, "I'm coming to Dublin, so we're going to do some more rehearsals there." And he
oh,
was just
brilliant.
so, I mean, amongst everything else, and actually just being there and directing Jodie, and then also starting Inter Alia, and then having time to still go over some scenes with me. I was just so grateful. And Jane has been the biggest rock as well throughout all of
Mm.
it. And she came up in York because I did a tech run the week before I did it in Bath. So she came up to watch me do the tech run, which is the first time that I did it with bells and whistles, lights and rain, and then gave me notes there as well. So they're never far. They were never far during the tour, but yeah, they're both incredible directors. Like
Mhm.
totally, so privileged to have worked with them both.
Yeah, yeah, they're brilliant people. Jane's been on here as well, and we talked about, of course, Prima Facie as well, and um, some of her short films that she's done as well. If you ever get the chance to watch them, like they're just so beautifully put together. I think one of them's called Kitchen Tales, I think, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
have you seen it?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we go through that in a lot of detail about the nature of relationship through food and stuff like that, and the symbolism that you get on camera and everything. It's brilliant. You know, it's two very different mediums, aren't they? Theatre to
Yeah.
film, like you see the images and stuff. But anyway, back to you. But in terms of, so what was that feeling like? Because when you're in Bath and you've done your show, obviously you've done a tech run and you've rehearsed it again and again. But when you're there in front of a live audience and there's no safety net as such, well maybe there is, but you know what I mean. But you're there you're doing it, and then you say the last line, something has to change. You put the folder back, you hear the music, the lights go, and then what was that feeling like just before the audience started to clap?
Uh, honestly, it's genuinely really hard to remember.
Yeah.
I was so overwhelmed with it. I've been thinking about that show since, the start of December. So it was sort of like it all was it came to a head at that moment. And to be honest, I was quite, I started to think about like how was that? How did that go? How was it? Like what happened there? There were so many little bits that I went straight to like the part of myself that was like, all right, well, what could we like? How do we do that better? But I was really trying to block that out. And then knowing, I mean, all my friends and family were there, and I could hear they were crying, and to know that they were there to support me was honestly completely overwhelming. Yeah, I have very little tangible memory of it exactly, but I
Yeah.
just because when you've replayed that moment so many times, listened to that song so many times myself to be like, and then I'll be exactly like this and I'll smile, but it was such a blur.
Yeah.
But yeah, just I guess a big sense of like relief that we were done and they didn't need to stop the show and I didn't forget my lines and it was all right.
Brilliant. Yeah. I think when you do that and then suddenly you stop and then because I was seeing it live, it's like you suddenly realize you start with thoroughbreds, every single one primed for the race, and then suddenly you jump and you're at the Victoria's Secret moment.
Yeah,
And
so far.
I was like, how are we here already? That's
Yeah,
great. That's crazy.
yeah.
And then next thing you know, it was Julian's encounter. Then it was the courtroom scene. And then it was like, oh, bloody hell, this is moving fast,
In
and
fact,
yeah,
yeah. It sounds like a lot 1 hour 40 and it feels with the thinking of it. I mean, but just before I turned around, I remember being like, this is it when Georgia and Kari I was on stage and they'd run away and I could see them running and I was like, oh, this is it now. This is 1 hour 40. Um, and it's just me and this is everything that you've been working up towards, but it felt like a blink. It just because you're so immersed in it and that's the power of the writing. Like there's no part of it that you zone out of. It's so engaging from the start to finish. So
mm,
yeah, it does fly by, and it's reassuring to hear that as well from the audience that they're not like clock watching or anything because it's a long time to be sat with no interval.
yeah. No, I mean, when you're in a play or something like that, and you see someone like surreptitiously like two or three seats down from you, just check their phone, and
Yeah,
and you're going, oh, someone's not interested anymore.
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
you know,
Someone checked out.
yeah. Well, to be fair, I've done it myself a couple of times. If I'm in a play and I'm just not enjoying it, I'm just like, it's just like, okay, we've got another half an hour to go.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you start fidgeting or notice that you need the loo, and yeah, it's so engaging.
Yeah.
The whole show, it keeps you hooked from start to finish. It's a huge testament to the team.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And it's that moment when, like, when did you sort of like come back down to earth, do you think? So you've done it, people are clapping, you've done your curtain call and everything. And did you have a moment where you went backstage and everyone's going, yes, Lauren, well done? And you go, did that really just happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just went back to the dressing room and obviously, but I'd got all my friends and family out there. My agent was there. I knew I had to go. I wanted to go and see them. We'd
Mm,
table at Pizza Express and knew I had to be back on that evening. So I was really overstimulated and I just I mean normally there's a period of time you can have a stage to go and cool down. Jodie has a time to process like we talked about.
mm,
Um you could get the mic taken out. It's like sellotaped here. And then get a cloth, you're dripping with wet, so you sort of get yourself sorted, but none of that happened. I just went and sat in the room. I was sort of talking to Georgia. I ripped the mic, I just sort of pulled it out as I was talking to her because I just wasn't really thinking. I was so overwhelmed by the show and yeah, and processing what it was. I mean, the way that Jodie has done that over and over again, night after night, sometimes twice a day, is just astounding. But yeah, I didn't come back until later that night, way later. It's just sort of somewhere else mentally.
yeah. I see you like rocking up to like a Pizza Express or something with your family, and then like you sit down at the table and you're just like in this mode, and then the waiter comes around and said, "Oh, yes, madam. What would you like to drink?" And you're going, "Sorry, what did you say?"
Yeah, what you say, yeah, it was bizarre. It was so bizarre. There was so many luckily had so many friends and family. There was like 25 of us in Pizza Express, and I was just trying to catch up with everyone as well because I hadn't seen them in months.
Mm,
And then before you knew it, we were back because the evening show was about to start. So we were back doing the prep for the evening. So it was a complete blur, but really, really magical and special.
yeah. Oh no, it was such an experience, and And I've got to ask you this about, because for the second half, obviously I've mentioned this in previous episodes as well, like you had that little booth. So you go, I asked the cabbie, will you take me to the nearest police station, please? And I can imagine you just going straight there.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
quick. Okay, quick. Go, go, go. And then you like blow dry everything. But of course, for the next, I think for the rest of the show, you are still slightly like damp and wet and everything because you've got like your hair's still a bit wet and all your clothes and everything. I mean, how do you get? Did you even like? Did it bother you, or was it just like?
No, you don't really think about it. I mean, if
I used to
anything,
think about it. Yeah,
yeah, it adds to the state of mind that she's in, which is a bit confusing. And she gets dressed in the second half on stage and puts new clothes on, and but sort of puts a coat on and off, picks things up and down. Like it feels really disjointed in the way, in contrast to the first half. That feels really, she's in control and she's leading it. So the fact that she's got wet hair in a bun and has got a wet bum from sitting down on the table, like it all adds to the feeling of being really uncomfortable and sort of not, not like focused on anything. It's not what's on your mind because there's so many other things going on for her, for the courtroom, and what's coming up for her.
yeah, yeah, oh, for sure. And obviously, feel free to talk about this as much as you want. But I can't imagine you guys on the last night in Liverpool. The show's done. Everyone's just. I just got a feeling that I stood outside with a few people, and Georgia came out and said, "I'm sorry, guys, she's not coming out tonight, but thank you all so much for all your support, everything. It's really meant so much to us. Just thank you for everything, and thank you for being here and stuff. And everything you want me to give to Jodie, I'll just do it for you." But I can imagine. I thought. Obviously, this is, I assume now, but I got an image of Jodie getting off stage, and then she's quick changed, sorted herself out, and just looked at you guys and just gone, right, let's go to the pub, let's go.
Yeah, but then we had the whole, we had to take the set down because it was a move. So we were straight away. I mean, we did obviously get to that part later. We were all in the bar that we had booked for the after party, which was amazing, and it was
Brilliant.
not until about 11:30 that we actually got there, but it was straight away, like, because I was moving around with the crew. I had my own little tasks to do at the Saturday night after every performance. I was doing my bubble wrapping, I was squeegeeing the water off the stage. So it still felt really electric, and that it was like, it's done, but we're not relaxed yet. It wasn't until even probably the train home that we all got on Monday that we were like, okay, we're back, we're here. But yeah, there was just so much to do, and it was buzzing. It was so exciting.
Yeah, and how was the after party, knowing that it was like the set's gone, show's over, it's all done, now let's just have a drink and just fucking dance.
Yeah, exactly. It was amazing. We just we were all really emotional as well, and it was,
Of course.
exactly what you thought it would be. It was just having a drink and having a dance and having a cuddle.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, that sounds like a great way to finish. I imagined you guys in Dublin just after like a tough show or something, and I remember saying to George, actually, did you say to the guy behind the bar, just keep bringing Guinness, just keep pouring, just
Yeah.
keep
Yeah,
it coming, man, keep it coming.
exactly.
It's like, yeah, but this is your sixth pint already, and
Yeah. And your point?
your point is,
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm doing anything there.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's just. I remember just like walking out the theatre and just going on both occasions, just like, wow, this play just takes you to places, and and I think it's a real privilege, like, because I remember, again, said this to Georgia, but it must have been such a privilege to be part of something like this, because I know like the challenges, learning the lines, etc., being on call if you needed, etc. But what a privilege that this experience has given you. I mean, how will you reflect on this experience over the next sort of few years, do you think?
I mean, you're so right. That's the only word really, is it's that a privilege to have been part of it. I've learned so much. I've got memories that I'll never forget. And yeah, just being part of something that is bigger than all of us, that's had such a massive cultural impact on so many people, is so special. And to have my little slice of it, and seeing what I've seen, and being backstage and being just part of the tiny group of people that make it happen is massive, because it feels like it should be hundreds of people like making that happen. There's like 10 of them at any given show,
Yeah.
which is just so mental. I mean, it's obviously a lot more than that, the work that went into building it, but just, yeah, being on the road and carrying all the work that so many people had done, and then being able to add my support, was, yeah, I'll never forget it.
Yeah. Of course, did you guys because I had a question about when you go touring, did you get like an Airbnb to yourself, or did you actually Georgia mentioned that I think you all like start live together? Did you all get a room in a big place for all of you? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I've also never, so I've never done theatre, I've never done a tour, so I wasn't sure about digs. I asked some of my actor friends their experience of digs, and Georgia, there were houses that you could share in, but and I did a couple of times. But I also, starting this job, it was a very quick. We had to sort of get everything ready. It was so fast, and I was really nervous about what that would feel like, or what I would be like, and whether I would need to be up all night running the lines and having the sleepless nights that I was having in December trying to learn them, and waking up with like locked jaw, just stressing about it. I opted for my own digs in several places, and obviously in hindsight, when I look back, it would have been absolutely fine. The times that I did share, the Edinburgh house was all of us in one big house, which was amazing.
Wow.
They were the times that I had the most fun and the most laughter, but you wouldn't know that before, and I wasn't sure if how I was going to fit in, or whether I would be, welcomed in that way. But obviously that's exactly what happened, because they're all amazing. But you don't get that. It's rare, to find such a wonderful group of people that are so supportive and welcoming. But so yeah, I had a little bit of both. I had a little bit of my own digs and a little bit of time with them.
Nice. Yeah. I suppose that's good. Like you get, I can see you guys all getting back together and just like reflecting on the show that night. It's like, oh yeah, do you remember that bit? Did you see that person?
Yeah,
There?
well,
It's
that's
like, oh,
it. Yeah.
did you hear that phone at like that moment? You're going, oh my God, I wanted to fucking punch him. But
Yeah.
just reflecting on it, it's so cathartic. I imagine like some people just, you reflect on the experience which you've all shared together, and then you say like, oh, at that moment, do you remember when you were thinking, oh God, oh yeah, I was the same. I was just like,
Yeah, yeah. It's like a debrief, like after a night out or with your friends or whatever, debrief is often like the best bit, because you're just sort of sitting around like reminiscing of what happened. So
yeah,
yeah, even when I wasn't staying with them, I was, the next day I'd be in the living rooms chilling, watching something with them, and debriefing. So yeah,
yeah.
we definitely had that time.
Fantastic. Yeah. I mean, what an experience, and I think a lot of people would just want to give you just a big thanks for just being a part of it, but also getting the chance to share Tessa's story with again with the school's consent project, and just also giving. I mean, I imagine some people who were there with you that night in Bath was the first time that they'd seen this play, and they got
Yeah.
to see it live as well, and you got to share Tessa's story with a brand new audience that night. And yeah, did you get much feedback from the project from the people who were there?
Yeah, I've had some such lovely messages from people. The feedback that I've got has been great, which is so lovely, because I think there's a tendency to, well, I know I certainly did, just sort of beat myself up over the little bits that I was like, I
Yeah,
wanted to do it like this, or I knocked that over there, or I couldn't get the camera in. But none of that matters. And my friend who's an actor came to watch it, and afterwards he reminded me that it's actually not about you as the actor and how you feel. It's what you did for the audience. Like, that's the point. You're sharing something. And the feedback that I got was so lovely, that I was like, okay, I did the job. I did what I set out to do, regardless of how I feel about it myself. Which now I'm like, okay, yeah, no, I'm happy with it, but I'm just very hard on myself.
yeah, I know that. Yeah, you need to be. But we're all our worst critics. We're all our harshest critics. We always say things like about ourselves, and people go, why are you worrying about that? It's
Yeah,
not.
well, I didn't notice half the things that I was worried about.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's true. Like, I remember seeing a show with someone who else has been on here earlier. Was it last year? Yeah, it was last year now, yeah. And I messaged her afterwards going, oh, great show, congratulations. And she messaged me back going, did you enjoy it? I said, yeah, 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 of course I did. It was great. And she said, it was absolute chaos backstage. We were absolutely shitting ourselves the whole time, thinking, "Oh my God, any moment tonight could just go completely wrong." But
Yeah.
but I was like, that didn't translate at all.
No.
You all looked fine.
Yeah, smooth as anything.
Yeah, and yeah, in our brains we're going, okay, right, that bit, oh, no, doesn't matter,
Yeah.
carry on. But then afterwards, oh yeah, I didn't do that bit right, and some people could go, that was my favorite bit.
Yeah, totally,
Yeah,
totally. It's how they're receiving it is the most important thing.
yeah,
Um, but yeah,
yeah. Oh, I don't know how this is relevant, but I remember hearing a story of Andrew Scott, and when he was doing Hamlet in London, and he had a part. There was like a modern setting, and he had a gun at one point, and the gun just went off one night, just like that. He didn't pull the trigger, just went poof, like that, and it like completely the wrong moment. And to Juliet Stevenson, who's like theatre royalty, you know, and at the interval he ran to the dressing room and was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. It's just this thing just went off," and she just went, "I loved it.
yeah. Oh, really?
I loved
Like
it."
that.
And I was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah." I thought that
That's,
was
that's the beauty of it, the life that you just don't know what's going to happen. And in a way, it's sort of special when something unique happens because you're a part of a different thing, and the actors will probably do something different in response to that. So it's a unique show every single night.
yeah. And I just I think just before we finish, I got to get this moment in as well, which is the moment at the end where she says basically Julian's found not guilty, and she said there's the applaud what does she say, the sound from the gallery is loud and there's clapping, and
Yeah.
Julian will never have to say sorry for what he did. The jury files out, not one of them can meet my eye. And it's like, well, I've seen it a few times, but that moment, not one of them, that's an interesting moment, not one of them can meet my eye. So
Yeah.
when you performed it that night, when you saw in your imagination the jury just filing out and they're not looking at you, what did you think at that moment?
I think it's just it's almost like you want to connect, like they have so much power, the jury, and the fact that they've made this decision that for them is beyond reasonable doubt, it was the decision that they've made, and she's about to go forward in her life knowing that this will have been the resolution. It's not the one she wanted, and it was those people there that can't face looking at her knowing that that's the choice that they've made. It's really sad. It's kind of a hopeless moment. The whole scene is a hopeless moment
Yeah,
where
yeah, yeah.
until the very end, and she's leaving with her mum. But that's the point. Yeah, it's just really sad knowing that you can't look in the eye, and also the fact that they're not looking at you means that it's like, were they sure? They can't face up to what they did, but their decision has impacted her forever, as will be the case for so many women. So the fact that there's no connection there between them all is yeah, it's just really, really sad.
Yeah, and also if they can't meet your eye, that's sort of like an admission of guilt in some ways. And I can see them asking, "Have we made the right decision here?" And of course, by
Yeah,
that point, it's too late. And
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
makes you think, did they know in their heart of hearts that this was the right decision when they said not guilty? But of course, you can't ask the jury because you don't know these people, and then you never see them again after that. But
Yeah, and the questions that are being asked of them are so hard to, it's the way that the system is set up. The whole point is that you have to prove it beyond reasonable doubt. And if there's reasonable doubt, then you can't, like, guilty convictions are so rare. So yeah, it's whether they believe it or not, it's a very difficult system that's been set up that makes it extremely difficult to prove anything.
yeah,
But yeah, it's the bitter reality that the show goes out on.
yeah, and of course you've got the QC as well. Again, like we said earlier, the best QC money can buy, saying, "Is this a fix?" So you can get that place in that chambers, and of course that's what the jury's hearing. Because and these guys, again, that word thoroughbreds, these guys know what they're doing. They are
Yeah,
so skilled in
yeah,
it, how to make a jury, almost like an audience, believe their story.
yeah, yeah,
Because and there's a lot of theatricality there, just natural theatricality in a courtroom, isn't there?
Yeah, totally. I got to watch a sexual assault trial myself during the rehearsal process,
Oh,
just to
bloody
sit
hell.
in and see how it worked. And there are so many theatrics, and it is, I found myself being like, oh yeah, well that makes sense, and that yeah, well the way that you're spinning that makes me go, oh yeah, well of course that makes sense for you and your and the defendant. But then the point of the show is that there's a whole other side to the story that it's you don't get to hear in court in the in a way that would make any difference to what you're being asked to do with the beyond reasonable doubt convictions.
Mm.
Yeah.
And of course, she washes all the evidence away as well. Like she jumps in the shower and washes any kind of potential DNA evidence away. And
Yeah.
then and her line is, "Am I a fucking idiot?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
Of
yeah,
course you would. Of course, in the moment you're just you've been assaulted. You're in the worst place that you could be. You're not thinking straight. So all of these things that she's then chastising herself for as a lawyer, and the battle that she's having with herself as a woman, knowing what she already knew about the law, and going through the system that she has believed in her whole life is just, yeah, such a unique vantage point.
yeah.
And yeah, a really hard lesson.
Yeah, and the point I wanted to say was that I imagine your mum was in the audience in Bath, right?
Yeah, she
Yeah,
was.
and when God, I can't imagine this got a big reaction each night, and I think some people talked about it a lot when Tessa says, "I see my mum," and she says, "Come on, love."
Yeah,
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 and she don't as a mum in that. Well, I think there's another line which says, "Her my mum has to hear how her daughter had sex with a guy in chambers," and
mm,
revealing all this stuff, and then when her mum once she wants to just pick her up and go, "Come on, love, let's go." Let's
yeah,
go home. And some people around me, when that line was said, it just broke them, and it was like,
yeah,
yeah,
totally. It was the hardest line for me to say. It's the one that's so charged, uh,
mm,
for when I did it, just because it's everything that her mom has said before, like no matter what, like we're moving forward, like it's not going to break you. And so the last thing for her mom to be like, come on, like we just come on, because she can't stand up. That's the point. She's just taking in her surroundings, and Richard is talking to her. She can't hear it, and there's the young police officer, and she's not able to stand while she's focusing. And then it's her mom who sort of cuts through the fog to go, come on, let's go. So it is a really big moment, and yeah, such a
yeah,
powerful time. Amazing writing. So
it
good.
is. It is. I can't imagine your mum's reaction when you said that.
Yeah, well, she was stopping from the start. I mean, she didn't
Oh,
stop
probably,
it.
yeah.
But then but
But,
yeah.
but at that point, you've made her cry even more. She's going, "How much more can you make me cry?"
But thanks, Emma, too.
Yeah, and your secret saying to her, "Don't worry, my last line is in 2 seconds." Okay, it's
Yeah.
like something has to change. Okay,
Yeah.
and we're
We're
done.
done. Yeah.
Okay, it's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
She's like, "Oh," and I
No,
wonder.
no.
I
So,
wonder if she said to you afterwards, "Don't ever put me through that again."
no, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, she was in bits, bless her.
yeah. No, but more than anything, I'm sure she was just really proud, and of course, all
Yeah.
your friends and the rest of your family is, and everyone as well. And then Schools Consent Project people again, and of course the team around you and everything.
Mm.
So yeah. I mean, just before we finish, I'll say, Lauren, congrats.
Thank
Congratulations on a successful journey with this play, and also learning it and fighting through a time when you lost your voice as well, just to keep going with it. I mean,
you. Yeah.
that's honestly, mate, that's brilliant, and it shows your dedication and your perseverance through a tough period and everything. And just yeah, so I think yeah, want to get this on record, say congrats and well done. So and I look forward to more work that you do in the future, and keep me in the loop with everything, including your thoughts on Inter Alia and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just before we finish, I've got two last questions for every guest, and I think you might have answered them already, but I will ask them regardless. And so the first one is, what would you say was a bit of advice you wish you heard when you were starting out?
I think, one of the lessons that I've learned on this is that doubt is going to be a part of everything that you do, and it's not to be believed necessarily. I think we all suffer with like imposter syndrome and worry if we're capable of doing something. And I
Mm,
don't think it goes away, because I've heard the same story from so many of my other friends that are seemingly successful actors, or they are successful, but then if you speak to them on a level, they're so full of anxiety and nerves of their own performance. So I think doubt is always going to be there. And it's just about absorbing it and not taking it on, but just letting it be a part of your journey without having to listen to it. 'Cause certainly this show has really hammered that lesson home for me.
Yeah, yeah, that's very good advice, and it's very true as well. And finally, today, what would you say has been an experience or experiences you've had in your career up to now that you'll never ever forget?
I mean, it's going to sound so cliche, but it has to be this. It has to be Prima Facie. I think it's been the most rewarding job. I've learned the most on this job. It's been the most difficult job. But yeah, I'm never going to forget the journey that I've been on with all these people in a collaborative effort to take the show out to around the UK and Ireland. It's such a privilege. It transcends anything that I've done before. So yeah, it has to be this experience.
Yeah, of course, and again, just congrats on everything, and I look forward to the work you do next, and I'm sure you've left a lot of people with a lot of fond memories, and of course you're part of the locomotive for change in this as well. You're helping to progress this movement to change the law and make the perpetrators face the justice which they need to face, and of course being a voice for the 1 in 3 as well, and making a lot of people very, very happy and very proud to be associated with this play, and also be able to have seen it as well. And it's been a real privilege to speak to you today, so thank you so very, very, very much. And thank you, Lauren. If you just hang on, I'll finish the recording and we can have a little debrief and shoot back to life. But yeah, brilliant, guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. This has been the Uncensored Critic podcast. I'll be back very, very soon. And yeah, Lauren, bless you. Thank you so much.